In the quiet town of Shadow Hill, nestled among rolling hills and dense forests, there stood an old decrepit mansion known as Ravenwood Manor. Legends whispered of its dark past, shrouded in mystery and tragedy. Few dared to venture near, for fear of awakening the horrors that lay dormant within its walls. One stormy night, as lightning tore through the sky and thunder rumbled like the growl of a hungry beast, a lone traveler sought refuge in the abandoned mansion. His name was James, a weary wanderer haunted by his own demons. Desperate for shelter from the relentless storm, he pushed open the creaking gates and crossed the threshold into Ravenwood Manor. Inside, the air was thick with dust and decay, and the silence was suffocating. James lit a candle, its feeble glow barely illuminating the vast, empty halls. As he explored the mansion's labyrinthine corridors, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of unseen eyes following his every move. Suddenly, he heard a faint whimper echoing from the darkness. Ignoring the warning bells ringing in his mind, James followed the sound, his heart pounding in his chest. The whimper grew louder, evolving into a low, guttural growl that sent shivers down his spine. He entered a dimly lit room, its walls adorned with faded portraits of long-forgotten ancestors. In the center of the room, huddled in the corner, was a small, emaciated dog. Its fur was matted and filthy, and its eyes gleamed with a feral intensity. James approached cautiously, his hand outstretched in a gesture of peace. But as he drew closer, the dog's demeanor changed. Its growls escalated into frenzied barks, and its eyes seemed to glow with an otherworldly light. With a sudden burst of speed, the dog lunged at James, its jaws snapping inches from his throat. He stumbled backward, his heart racing with fear and adrenaline. But before he could react, the dog vanished into thin air, leaving behind nothing but a cold, lingering dread. Shaken, but determined to uncover the truth behind Ravenwood Manor's dark secrets, James continued his exploration. With each step, the mansion seemed to come alive, its walls whispering tales of madness and despair. As the night wore on, James stumbled upon a hidden chamber concealed behind a false wall. Inside, he found a gruesome sight that turned his blood to ice. Strewn across the floor were the skeletal remains of countless animals, their bodies twisted and contorted in unnatural poses. But what chilled James to the core was the realization that each skeleton bore the unmistakable marks of teeth and claws, as if they had been torn apart by some unimaginable force. As he searched for clues amidst the carnage, James uncovered a tattered journal hidden beneath a pile of bones. Its pages were filled with the ramblings of a madman, a former resident of Ravenwood Manor, who had descended into madness after losing his beloved pet. According to the journal, the man had dabbled in dark rituals in a desperate attempt to bring his faithful companion back from the dead. But instead of resurrection, his actions had unleashed a malevolent entity that now roamed the halls of Ravenwood Manor, feeding on the souls of any unfortunate enough to cross its path. Realization dawned on James as he pieced together the fragments of the tragic tale. The dog he had encountered was no ordinary creature, but a vessel for the vengeful spirit that haunted Ravenwood Manor. With a sinking feeling in his heart, James knew that he could never escape the clutches of the Hound of Shadow Hill. For once the darkness claimed you, there was no turning back. And so, with a heavy heart and trembling hands, he embraced his fate and succumbed to the eternal torment that awaited him within the walls of Ravenwood Manor.